showing up even when you don't want to, even when you can make an excuse, even when there's every reason in the book why you could say, I don't want to today, it's not going to happen today, showing up anyway and doing the thing that you said you were going to do, that is where ultimately most people fail. And it's usually why they don't really come up with a plan in the first place and they don't focus on executing, is because they're so concerned about the idea of having to do it tomorrow and then the next day and then the next week.
What is a mindset? How can we build our mind, and how we can create a strong mind that will affect our personal development? For that reason, I have Jarred Curcio, my dear friend, here in the studio, and we're going to get some answers. Jarred, welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much for having me, Rami.
Man, it's a pleasure, man. Yeah, I was looking forward to this chat because a lot of stuff that I just said are my questions.
Okay.
The correlation between mind and body, and this buzzword right now, everybody's saying, oh, you need a life coach, or, you need a personal development coach. It's really confusing, be honest with you. You went through all of this. You were overweight. You studied in law school. You have a very interesting journey. Just explain it to our audience that. How did you go through that journey?
Yeah. So I'll start from the very, very beginning, and I'll try to take as many shortcuts as I can along the way. But I'm 38 years old now. I grew up in New Jersey, and even though I live in Austin, Texas now, my wife and I, we've been together since high school. So we're high school sweethearts. We actually just celebrated 21 years this past Friday.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Growing up from an Italian family in New Jersey, the way I frame it is that food is a love language. When you're up there, there's a lot, like, again, an Italian family, you just love it. They show their love through feeding you and cooking big, grandiose meals. And that was great growing up, especially when I'm playing football and I'm an athlete and I'm working out and I'm, running around and riding my bike as a kid. But once I graduated from high school, I wasn't an athlete anymore. So ultimately I kept eating the same way, but I just stopped working out in any meaningful way. Because I didn't really have a plan for myself. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I just knew that I wanted to be successful. I knew I didn't want to be a loser. I came from a blue collar family where money was always like hard to come by. And I always felt like I was always wondering why it seemed like my family had a harder time with money than maybe other families in the area. I just was very, very lost at the age of 18, 19 years old. Even though I had Caitlin at the time, it was just something was off. And I don't even know what clicked in me one day. I just know I saw a photo of myself and I just didn't like the way I looked.
So Dad said, enough is enough.
Yeah, it was just one step too far in terms of man, I don't look good and something has to change now or never. And I don't even know why I had that much insight at 19 years old, but I knew that something had to change. And my goal wasn't like a particular weight, and it wasn't like a finish line. It was really just to start the process. And my process was working out 5 days a week without fail, and slowly improving my diet. So that started with cutting out soda first, and then sweets, and then limiting, bread and gluten and carbs and that kind of thing. And eventually and ultimately, all I really wanted to do was lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. And I just kept track every single Friday. I would wake up, I'd get on my scale, and I'd on a whiteboard in my room, just keep track of the weight that I was losing. And before I knew it, I was stepping up on stage 14 months later, having lost about 120 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was stepped on stage and I won a natural bodybuilding championship. So that seems like a pretty extreme
it is very extreme
journey and a pretty extreme transformation, which it was. But the fact that it was so seemingly improbable, seemingly impossible, and the fact that there were so many opportunities throughout that process that I could have made excuses. There was any number of reasons why I shouldn't have done it. I didn't even want to be a bodybuilder. I just happened to have a guy at my gym who was a trainer come up to me and say, this was probably when I was maybe halfway through the weight loss journey. He's like, you're in here every day. You're working your ass off. You're clearly dedicated and you have plenty of muscle on you. You should do a bodybuilding show. And the first thing I said is, I don't want to do steroids, because I just assumed
That's
to
what
step
you
on
heard
stage,
there, yeah.
you have to do steroids. And he's like, don't worry, you could do a natural show. And I don't ever remember actually saying yes and agreeing to stepping on stage. I think he just pretty much forced me into training with him, but he did it out of the goodness of his heart. He never charged me or anything. It was really just because he saw potential in me, which I'm forever grateful for. Yeah, sure enough, he helped me get from like that 220 mark all the way down to 175. So I went from, I think at my highest, I was about 290 to about 220, 215 on my own. And then the rest of it, the rest of that way, that extra 50-ish pounds was with the help of my coach. At 175, I hover around 200 now. So I'm not all the way down to the same that I was at that point. But that really just taught me that no matter how improbable something seems, I basically developed a 5-step formula for success that I've applied to everything thereafter. I went to law school after I graduated from college, not again knowing what I wanted to do, just thinking that successful people go to law school, so that's what I should do. I graduated at the top of my undergrad, summa cum laude. I graduated at the top of my class in law school. I passed the bar.
You passed the bar too?
Yes.
And you're not practicing?
I never practiced. I worked as an intern for the governor of New Jersey. My first summer in law school, second summer in law school, I worked at a law firm in New York. Both were very interesting opportunities, opened my eyes to the fact that I didn't want to be a lawyer.
Why?
Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, everybody was very like miserable, quite honestly. What I thought was really interesting is that during law school orientation, they walk you into the auditorium, and before it's almost like the first thing that they do, they're kind of like, welcome, you're in law school now. We're going to, welcome you over the next couple of days. And the first thing that they go over is the fact that attorneys have the highest rate of any profession for alcoholism and drug dependency, which is, I just thought is like a weird tone to get this set off. And of course, like they just kind of poo-poo it and then they brush it away. And then you go into so they're just basically like, you have a really high likelihood getting into this profession to become an alcoholic or a drug addict. So just like watch out for that. That was like a first red flag, I would say.
Yeah.
And then when you actually are working with these folks who have been doing it for years on end, sometimes decades on end, and you can see just how unfulfilled they are. I was at a happy hour at the law firm that I was working at, and one of the main attorneys, one of the main associates at the law firm I was working at, I think he had a couple extra drinks in him. And what he had said very clearly, and I remember this like it was yesterday, he said, if I could work at a toll booth making the same amount of money, it would be as fulfilling as my job.
Wow.
So that was another thing that sort of sat with me.
That was a big punch.
I already made my decision at that point, but that was really like the linchpin where I was like, okay, like I'm making the right decision here. But I didn't want to be a law school dropout. And I never wanted to, knowing that I wasn't going to be a lawyer, I never wanted it to be able to be said, we're like, oh, well, he just couldn't finish, or I couldn't pass the bar, and that's why I didn't become a lawyer. I was like, I want to do that, pass the bar, and say I just passed the bar just to finish it, just to say that I did, and then move on with my career.
What a determination.
So I did. And then I got into, I still had no idea what I wanted to do. Caitlin had just supported me for 3 years while we were in law school. She was my sugar mama for the 3 years that I was in law school. And I said, okay, like, what are we going to do now? And we decided to pack our bags, move down to Austin. This is 13 years ago now. I took the most like bottom of the barrel entry level sales job that I possibly could, making 150 cold calls a day for a $20,000 base salary coming out of law school. So I swallowed my pride to take on that job that I never wanted and never really saw myself in, but it was just like the only thing that seemed available to me at the time. Within 2 months, I was the top rep in the company. Within the year, I had overhauled their entire training program, sales process, demo, etc. Led the top team in the company for a little while after that. And then I had a 12-year sales career, corporate sales career here in Austin, running, building, scaling multiple multi-million-dollar sales teams. And then eventually realized, you know what? Just like I was worried about. I'm not fulfilled. I feel like there's more out there for me. There's more that I can bring to my community. There's more value that I can add. And I've not been successful as a result of the company that I was working for, the product I was selling, or the boss that I had. I'm successful because of me and because of the discipline and the go-gettitiveness and the actions that I've taken, my mindset and everything else, the amount of energy that I have. What if I can package that and then help other people tap into all of that as well?
Because most of the stuff that you did, actually, the shift was so huge. It wasn't only physically. I think most of it was mentally.
Exactly. Yep.
Because coming from the, you said you passed the bar and the, law school, and you say, now I'm going to go take a sales, make 100 calls a day. And then shifting to that mindset that I want to swallow my pride, but I want to do what I want to do. Yep. A lot of people cannot do that. Why?
Why can't they? Well, there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of noise in whether it's society, whether it's what you see on social media, whether it's what your parents are telling you, where first off, people tend to err towards safety and towards comfort and towards security, and getting into a job that, of course, like offers those things is usually like the gold standard for a lot of people, because that just means you're secure and like other people have validated that you're somebody of value. So that's one reason to go down that path. And then once you get in it, the certainty and comfort and security of that paycheck coming in over and over and over again. And trust me, I was there for 12 years where there was a long time where I knew that the sales career wasn't for me long-term. But when you're doing well and you're getting promotions and you're making more money year after year and you have that steady paycheck coming in and you're running sales organizations and you're getting accolades, it's really easy to go, oh, like I'm pretty comfortable right now. I'm pretty complacent, even though I don't necessarily feel like challenged in the way that I would.
You feel
prefer
successful, but you're not fulfilled.
Yes, exactly. It felt successful and it was rewarding in a lot of ways, but it wasn't like fulfilling in the way.
Yeah, for a lot of people, that's the definition of success. But what is the definition of success for you?
For me, it would be being the person that you ultimately want to be.
That's what you do, everything you do today.
Yes.
Because I know you, I have seen your programs. You're not only working on the body. You're not a life coach. You're not like a personal trainer. You're the whole enchilada.
Sure.
Like the mind and the body. That's what I like. How you put that together as an ecosystem.
Sure. So I'm going to circle back to the bodybuilding process, because I said that helped build my formula for success. And I applied that same formula to every other thing that I did. My relationship with my wife, my sales career, building businesses, etc. It comes down to 5 main things. The first is going to be having a plan. So if, for example, and I'm going to use the gym as an example. So if you walk into the gym and you have no idea of what you were intending to do that day, well then sure, there's plenty of options there. And chances are you're going to go to whatever's easiest or whatever's like you're familiar with or whatever you're comfortable with. And you might even go in saying, I'm going to spend an hour here, but after maybe 30 minutes, you just kind of like give up and you walk out. A bad plan is better than no plan. So having something that is a standard that you can set for yourself, that you can say like, I'm setting out to accomplish this. And then you can audit whether you actually did that or not, is the first step to any success. Secondly is executing as effectively as you can in the moment, rather than being distracted or worried or concerned or guilty about the past or anxious about the future or thinking about the outcome. It's simply, am I in the moment right now doing the thing that I set out to do? And that is based on what plan you set out for yourself. So I'm at the gym right now. Am I worried about the day at work that I had? Am I worried about all the things that I have to do when I get home today or tomorrow? Or am I here under the weight thinking about the exact muscle that I'm trying to work and putting all my energy into that singular action? If so, then we're executing as effectively as possible. The third is consistency, which I say is the key to any success story that you've ever heard, including my own. It's showing up even when you don't want to, even when you can make an excuse, even when there's every reason in the book why you could say, I don't want to today. It's not going to happen today. It's realizing that every excuse you ever told yourself is complete bullshit, showing up anyway and doing the thing that you said you were going to do. That is where ultimately most people fail. And it's usually why they don't really come up with a plan in the first place and they don't focus on executing, is because they're so concerned about the idea of having to do it tomorrow and then the next day and then the next week and then the next month that they figure it's not even worth.
So you had a moment
showing up in the
that
first
you said, okay, I don't want to do it. How did you deal with that? Because we all have it.
Yeah. So that was really like the first step in my, we'll call it like fitness journey, was I just set that standard for myself where it was 5 days a week without question. And I set certain rules about my diet. And once I set those rules, they were my baseline, and I never allowed myself to go below that. So I'm a believer in setting a low bar and clearing it without fail, as opposed to what a lot of trainers do, which is like a kitchen sink approach, where I'm going to give you a 5 day a week workout that's really intense. I'm going to tell you to completely overhaul your diet. I'm going to give you all these supplements. I'm going to give you all this sleep stuff that you have to do, stretching, etc. It becomes overwhelming, and like, you're basically asking somebody to become a completely different person from one day to the next and live a completely different life and then do it over and over and over again. It's not gonna, there's no sustainability there. Instead, I would just say, let's pick a absolute baseline that we know that we can commit to, whether that's 1 or 2 days per week of the gym. If that's all that we can commit to, as long as you clear that every single week, then I'm happy. And once you prove that you could do that, then it's, let's add one more challenge. Let's add one more thing that now we can stack on top of the commitments that we've already made. And now we're constantly raising the bar, and then we're never lowering it, as opposed to setting a really high bar and we're clearing it like half the time. And most of the time we're falling short.
And then you work with the individual and you work with the couples, and you have different programs. One of them is the focus room, because you're really into the mindset.
Yep.
You can explain that, how the mind works in all of this.
Yep.
Like, if your mind doesn't work, like sometimes you are not there. You're not there.
Yep.
Your mind is not there. You're tired. How are you going to push your body that listen to your mind? Because it's very challenging.
I can get into that. I believe that comes from presence, which is built through meditation as well as through other practices. And I can go into the presence component, which I think is like the foundation of like true discipline. But really the consistency part, if we want to be as practical as, because discipline is like a pretty vague, abstract concept. It's hard to really like understand or define or embody discipline, because that's technically different for everybody, because discipline is being the person that you want to be. So we'd have to identify who you want to be in order to meet that standard. But really, at a minimum, if we have a plan and all we're saying is execute and be consistent with that plan, then we already have like a very practical, realistic standard by which we can like lay out on paper and then audit. The only reason why you wouldn't continue and be consistent is because something came up that prevented you from doing the thing that you said you were going to do. I call that an excuse. Anything that comes up that prevents you from doing the thing that you said you were going to do is an excuse. And I work with my clients to help them understand what an excuse is. An excuse is a justification as to why you didn't do the thing you were going to do. And I run them through. What I found is,
what are the excuses they give you?
So there's any number of them. And I have an exercise that I do with them to get ahead of it. So when I'm usually doing a consultation with people, they'll tell me, "Oh, I'm a hard worker. I'm going to get this all done." Give them a morning routine. I give them their workout, a few other things, and they tell me that there's no way that they're going to not stick to it. They're fully committed, and there's nothing that can stop them. Okay. We'll see how that goes. I would love that, but that's very rarely the case. Sure enough, within the first couple of weeks, there's always something where it's like, well, I didn't get to the journaling today because blah, 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 blah. And then I learned early on in the coaching process that like very quickly people could become what I call excuse machines, where it's just like, they're just able to turn out like a slot machine, just like pour on as many excuses as they could possibly think of. So I created an exercise where I say, before we get started, I want you to make it a list of every single excuse that you could think of as to why you would not go to the gym. Everything from, I didn't get enough sleep last night, to I stubbed my toe, to I hurt my back, to I broke my back, to my dog died, to somebody in my family died, to it's nuclear holocaust. And now we are not, there's no gym even anyway. Like everything from the simplest thing all the way to like the absolute worst thing that we can imagine. I want you to spell out every single excuse that you can make. From there, we're going to rate them on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 is this would never keep me out of the gym. And 5 is, of course, like it's unlikely if a nuke hit the gym or hit your neighborhood that you're probably going to make it to the gym. I would say that that's probably a fairly good excuse. And everywhere in between. Maybe breaking your back is a 4.5. From there, we have to say, what is the threshold? What threshold will we mark the point to which we won't make it to the gym? Stubbing your toe, feeling hurt, not having a good night's sleep, having a shitty conversation with your boss, having a shitty conversation with your partner. That's not a good enough excuse. That's literally just your emotions dictating how you feel, and that's preventing you from getting to the gym. If you break your back, okay, maybe we take a day off. Maybe we take a rest day. But like there is a spectrum here. And if we can kind of see it from a 30,000 foot view ahead of time, we can already start to get ahead of the bullshit that we're going to tell ourselves in the future. Every time that you could make an excuse, I didn't get enough sleep, I stubbed my toe, and we actually make it to the gym, what we're doing is we can check those off and we can say, okay, that's never an excuse again. Next time I stub my toe, I'm never going to I can't skip the gym because I went last time. Last time I said I had a bad day at work and I wanted to skip the gym and I still went. This is still a bad day at work. I can make it to the gym again. And over time, you're raising your threshold because you're proving to yourself that all those excuses that you could have made previously were BS. As opposed to what most people do is the second that they have an out, the second that they do stub their toe, or the second that they do have a bad day at work, they allow that excuse to be the reason why they don't show up. And now they've just done the exact opposite, which is set the precedent neurologically that because I had a bad day at work, that is justification to not go to the gym. And it's simply a matter of like just gaining a little new perspective on that alone is kind of how we can start to understand what we mean by consistency and what we mean by like getting the thing done that you said you were going to do. So that's, again, going back to that third piece of the puzzle here of the 5-step process, which is consistency.
Basically, your motion comes from your emotions.
Yes.
What you think, that's how you're going to act.
And the thing is, like, everybody has emotions. Like, there's days where I don't want to go to the gym. I have to hype myself up to go to the gym as much as I don't, like, a lot of the time. But I've gone through that process enough that I know how it goes. I know how those feelings start to creep in. And because of my level of presence and my level of awareness and the meditation that I do, also the gratitude and the fact that I've been doing it for 20 plus years. And I can say genuinely that I never missed a workout in 20. Now that doesn't mean that I've worked out every day, but anytime that I had a planned workout, I've never had less than 5 workouts in a week for the last 21 years.
You don't give yourself a break?
No, I give myself rest days, but I haven't taken a non-planned rest day.
How you do that is just it's easy to say that, yeah, but it's really in reality 90% of people that have this problem.
Yeah,
commitment.
Yeah,
commitment is one of the biggest issues, especially with this generation. Yep. You see how tempting it is. Everything from the bad food, from name it, is everything around us. How we're gonna really just say, no, enough is enough and commit to our mind and our body is not easy. You see it, the clients and so many cases.
So that is why I say, let's set a low bar. What you say, commitment is as much about what you say yes to as it is about what you say no to. So if the problem, I'm happy you brought up commitment. I say that commitment is my favorite word in the English language because most people don't know what it means. Most people think that you can have 80% commitment or 99% commitment, but it is binary. You either are committed to the thing that you said you were going to do or you're not. You can't be halfway committed. So rather than commit to 10 things and only meet 5 of them, I would rather have you commit to 4. And if you and knowing that you're going to be able to do those things, you don't say yes to anything else until those 4 things are done. And then once you do those 4 things, well, then if you have the time to get to the other 1 or 2 or 10, then you can get those things done. But you have to say no to those other things in order to master the 4 things that you've committed to.
But how hard was that for you to say no? Because for me, it's hard.
Yes. Well, if I want to draw the story out a little bit further, there was actually a few false starts before I lost all of that weight. So I was, again, working out in high school. When I went to the gym after high school, I didn't like just all of a sudden graduate and be like, I'm not working out anymore. I went to the gym and I didn't have a plan. So I just sort of kind of did the thing that I was doing previously, but now I'm like, I don't have coaches anymore, so I can just do whatever the hell I want. And the first thing I did is I walked in to the gym on leg day and I said, I don't need to do squats anymore because I'm not an athlete anymore and squats are for athletes. So I immediately gave myself that, like, I lowered the bar once from what I technically said I was going to do. Cause I said, I'm going to do the same thing that I was doing. Sorta didn't have a good plan. Immediately gave up like the squats. Next week I went in, I didn't do leg press. Next week I went in, I didn't do leg day. Next week I went in, I didn't do any of the exercises I didn't want to do. Next week I went in, I didn't do any of the days I didn't want to do. And the next week I'm not in the gym anymore. And that's how people slip, is with the little excuse becomes a waterfall and a cascade
ripple effect
of excuses, because you're conditioning yourself to lower the bar. What if instead we conditioned ourselves to hold a firm wall, a firm bar, and we stayed there, but we just didn't ask too much of ourselves? So that was the first time where I started to slip and I saw myself gain weight. When I recommitted to the gym and I realized I got to really make a difference here, or make a change here, the first thing that I did was say, I'm doing 5 days a week. I know last time I said I was going to do 5, it turned into 4. And the first thing that I did was I stopped doing squats. So every single week since then, guess what I make sure that I do, no matter what, in the gym, is I make sure that I squat. Because if I've played at that bar now for 21 years, I have no reason, because I've proven it to myself so many times over and over and over again, I have no reason to believe why there should ever be a week where I am not able to squat, why I'm not able to get all my workouts in, why I'm not able to stick to the diet that I said I was going to stick to. It's simply, the only reason why you struggle with it is because you haven't proven it to yourself enough yet. And you prove it to yourself with the low bar first. And then once that feels really good and you're like, oh, this is automatic, we raise it a little bit more. And then we raise it a little bit more. And then we raise it a little bit.
That's for everything.
Yeah.
Not only it's life.
Yep, exactly.
Really. Anything you want to achieve.
There was one day, and I didn't even remember this story, but Caitlin told it to me. And this actually is like, if we're talking about that excuses machine exercise, it's like on the higher end of it. Was I had a cardio day that I was supposed to do while I was training for my bodybuilding show. I forgot my sneakers. I was coming from, I worked at like, I did an internship at NBC in New York City at 30 Rock. And I was like in a suit and like dress shoes. And then I couldn't, because of the way the week was scheduled or my commute or whatever, this was like the last opportunity that I had to get my workout in for the week. And I didn't have my sneakers. And if I didn't work out and do cardio, it would have been the first and only time, and this was like less than a year into this entire journey, that I would have allowed an excuse to keep me from doing my workout. So Caitlin reminds me that I did, I ran or walked on the treadmill on an incline for an hour with no shoes and no socks, and my feet were all blistered at the end of it. But like, there's nothing I would change about that. Like, I'm happy I did that, because like I committed to the thing I said I was going to do. Guess what? Did I ever forget my sneakers again? Hell no, I didn't. I can't use that excuse anymore. If I did, I'm going to get my feet blistered, but better yet, how about I just remember my sneakers next time? So like, that's what it means to like not make excuses. And once you do that once, it's kind of like, oh, like, yeah, no, these external factors have no impact on me.
Going to the relationship, you talk about Caitlin, it's not easy living with you. I'm
sure.
No,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, honestly, you are very committed. You are very driven. You got to be with somebody who can catch up with you, or catch me if you can. How that works in the relationship, really. Like I met Caitlin, wonderful lady, bright, talented. You guys are so matched. A lot of people, they go to this exercise. I'm sure you have clients, they fall off the cliff because the partner doesn't. Sure. How you fix that? Because you coach couples.
That's an awesome question. The reason why I believe genuinely the reason why Caitlin and I had such a strong start to our relationship is because when I decided to do my bodybuilding competition, she never gave me friction. She never said, hey, like, you can go and do that. I'm going to go do something else. When I got on that journey, she got on it with me. She wasn't competing, but she decided, okay, if he's going to eat healthier, I'll eat healthier. If he's going to go to the gym, I'm going to start going to the gym. So we were on like parallel paths there together. And all that does is bolster my willingness to do it, my commitment to it, my motivation, and it makes things significantly easier for me as the guy who's trying to get my act together when my partner's in it with me. And I do believe that was like the launch pad that really allowed us to take off and become the couple that we are today. And one of the reasons why we're such huge believers in our 2-on-2 couples coaching that we do, and we build it based on a principle of power, passion, purpose, with the foundation being that the couple gets in shape together and they start taking care of their physical health and their mental health as a unit, is because that is how you build true synergy in a relationship. You're making each other better. You're actually acting in a lot of ways as each other's coaches and accountability partner. You're cheerleading for each other. You're providing constructive feedback. You're encouraging. And the more that when two people are manifesting a particular goal, it happens exponentially faster than if a single person is doing it. But at the same time, if one person has a vision for themselves and for their life, whether it's something as simple as just losing a few pounds, or it's like they want to take on a whole new purpose and a whole new mission in life, and this person is being an anchor, there's nothing that's more detrimental. There's nothing that's going to scatter your energy or distract you or discourage you more than a partner who's not on board with you. So when I'm doing my one-on-one coaching, and specifically with prospects before we sign on, if they do have a partner, it is so important that they're on board with it. Have you had the situation that the individual said, oh, let me, after you talk to him, and he said, let me bring my wife or let me bring my husband, would you talk to him? Have you have I actually? I definitely have. I think usually I'm the one suggesting that. Really? yeah. I'm usually the one who's suggesting it. I can't think of a time where they suggested it, but yeah, no, absolutely. Because that's a win-win situation. And I'm in a place now where I'm not. I did my Pitbull sales process for long enough that now I really am only interested in providing value to people that are actually going to benefit from it and that actually want the help. And I want to make sure that I'm putting myself in a situation where I can be successful. And if for some reason, like the person's partner isn't on board with it, well, like that has to be a conversation. And like, it almost means that the person isn't ready if their partner isn't ready. That's something that takes some people have trouble truly understanding, but it actually like couldn't be more true. And I'm sure you and Kayla, you had some rough patches too. Yes, we did. You fall off and say, hey, baby, you got to get up, or you, the same thing. How did you deal with that? All right. So I'll use this as a way to get into my fourth part of the success formula, which is have a coach or have somebody who can help you develop a plan, help you execute on the plan and make sure that you're executing on it effectively. And then most importantly, stay consistent, because again, that's where most people fail. There was a time when within a few years of us moving to Austin, I was doing really well in terms of my career. She had just changed careers from working at a hospital to working where she works now, which is at a plastic surgery office. And she's got incredible bosses and an incredible 10 plus year career there at this point. But during that transition, there was a time where she was struggling. She wasn't particularly vocal. And I'll say, before I go into any of this, this is her story to tell. I'm only going to give like the information that's like relevant to the sake of this conversation. And I also know that at the time I wasn't the best husband that I can be or the best partner that I could be. And there's a lot of things that I could have done to have made the situation better. So this isn't to put blame on her directly or solely at least, but she was going through some stuff. She was being deceitful towards me. She was not being honest in terms of the things that she was going through personally, professionally, and otherwise. And I found out. I felt incredibly hurt. I felt incredibly betrayed. And there was a while where like I was I was like pissed off, and there was a lot of tension between us. And I felt like this is a person who I've been with for 10 plus years. And I thought that we, knew everything about each other. There was no way that she could even hide stuff like this from me. And then it turns out that she was, and I was really thrown for a bit of a loop. And there was an opportunity at that time where I could say, okay, well, again, I'm certainly not the kind of person that's going to go, okay, well, I guess we're just going to allow this to be like, I'm going to go do my thing and you go do your thing. And we're just going to kind of like live side by side. Like, that's not the life that I want to have. From the beginning, the second that I realized that it was time to lose weight, I just decided, like, if there's something that needs to be fixed, it's going to be fixed. I'm not just going to let it sit there. So like, there's no way that I'm going to let us just like be two ships passing in the night in our day-to-day life and like not have the kind of relationship that we once had. That's certainly not where I want it to be. The alternative to that, some people might say, is, well, I guess you have to get divorced and break up, which was absolutely on the table. But that's also not the person that I want to be. I'm not the kind of person who, when my wife, who's been super supportive of me, I said she was my sugar mama for so many years, supporting me, and not just in that way, but in every other way imaginable. When she needs help, I'm not going to be the guy who goes, well, that was a fun 10 years. See ya, babe. And then be like, good luck in the future. That wasn't who I wanted to be either. Ultimately, like, this is my best friend. She supported me. She needs help right now. Yes, I'm hurt, but there's things that she can work on and things that we can work on together. And she'll say outright, like, I was her coach. She says that. She says that Jarred became my coach to create a plan, to make sure that I was following through on it, and to hold her accountable. And there was some ways that she did that for me as well, but it was really mostly me saying, like, hey, how do we get you back on track? Let's start with this general, like, easy to knock out blueprint, and we'll take it from there. And our relationship has been outstanding ever since. Like stellar, where that part of that like chapter feels like a different dimension. It doesn't even feel like it happened. It feels like it was a different version of us, which it was. And I'm a better person since then. She's a better person since then. Our relationship is, what it is today. And it probably wouldn't be without having gotten through.
Most of the people right now in Austin, they're getting to know you as two couples that they really use as a role model. Yeah. And I think the reason that you just mentioned not long ago, that it's a commitment. Mm-hmm. You are so committed, and you were committed to fix this, and you didn't leave. Yep. You didn't give up. It's a lot of people, they give up, but this commitment, man, you're a different animal. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But once again, would I have, I am committed. There's no doubt about it. The reason why we say that our relationship has been successful, and I think what's missing from a lot of relationships, and I think, quite frankly, it's missing from relationships because it's missing from the individuals within the relationship, is that I demonstrated a certain level of commitment at a young age, early on in my relationship with Caitlin. So I said I was going to lose weight, and I did. I said
history.
Yeah. I said I was going to do my best that I could in college. And I said I worked at NBC, which was a goal of mine. I graduated summa cum laude with a 3.9 GPA. I said I was going to do those things, and I did. I went to law school, and I, followed through on that in the same way that I did it. What if she had supported me, and then halfway through I was like, I'm done with this. I don't want to be a lawyer anymore, and I'm going to quit law school too. Then it's like, oh, like, are you just like, I was already bouncing around, but at least I was following through on the things that I said I was going to do. But I only built my own capacity to commit based on the support and the love that she was giving me as well, because she wasn't being a point of friction for me, because she wasn't being an anchor, because all she was wind at my back throughout all of that. That built my ability to commit. It reinforced her belief and her faith in me, which made her support me more. So it was this self-sustaining energy exchange of my commitment to the things I said I was going to do so she could have faith in me. And then because she had so much faith in me, she was willing to support me. And I think that right now in our current state of society, guys do not have any level of discipline. And I'm willing to say that. I'm not going to go, oh, I don't think most guys have. I think that the vast majority of men are barely men at this point. They have very little, if any,
I am
discipline.
so happy you said that you are the first one. I have talked to so many people, brother, but you are the first person that you saying that actually in a live, podcast, because I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
We can't say they're, but they're not as disciplined as you were at that age.
They're not half as disciplined as I was at that age.
Is it like an environment? Is it what, this freaking fucking glue to the phone? What is it? And then how they're gonna support the partner or the future wife?
Well, like dopamine is cheap. It's really easy to bullshit your way through life with Instagram and everything else that's out there. There's so many things that are distracting, and because nobody writes down what their actual goals are or what they actually want to accomplish, or think about it meaningfully, their mission, let's say, or like what they're looking to accomplish changes on a dime, week to week, month to month. They're never actually steering in any like meaningful direction. They're never actually finishing and following through on the things that they said they were going to, which of course not only makes them weaker as individuals and makes them, as I would refer to it, average and pathetic. I say that most of society is average and pathetic by definition. Almost they are average, but pathetic as well. It makes them average and pathetic. So then the women who are already conditioned to be more masculine than they probably should be, because they're needed to fend for themselves and be independent boss babes or whatever we want to call them, they're already being more masculine. They don't have faith in the opposite sex and in the man that's in their life or the men that are in their life. So then they're not willing to support them and lean into the man and his mission the way that I think is necessary for a healthy relationship. But like they have every right to not be faithful in the man or not have faith in his ability to follow through because he's never proven that he can. So that creates a tremendous rift where dudes are like just living in cheap dopamine world, porn, not really following through on things that they said they're going to do, looking for the easy way out every single time without fail, making excuses, being little bitches. And the women are, I say all the time, like when I'm in the gym, the women are the ones who are locked in. They have a plan. They're moving from machine to machine. They're putting in tons of effort and energy and they're using good form. And I see guys just like wandering around on their phones, like bullshitting, like kind of moseying around with very little purpose, very little direction. And I think that's like indicative of where we are as a society. Quite frankly, the gym shouldn't be that way. Like it shouldn't be.
I talked to a couple of ladies and they said they were like a younger age. They said, we cannot date the guys our age anymore because they don't understand. Yeah. We're going to go to the older gentleman or older guy that they've been through shit and they are really a man, not the boy. And I was laughing. I said, what do you mean? I said, exactly what you said. They said, we can't count on them. Yep. They're not committed.
You could say it's an age thing, but I think it spans across generations.
Like the older can be.
I think it spans across ages. I think it's a generalized like societal problem at this point. And like, that's not to say that Gen Z isn't like more likely to maybe fall into that category. I really like can't say for sure. I could say that I've met a lot of Gen Z dudes who actually tend to be like real go-getters because they still have that like young fire in their belly where it seems like anything's possible at this age in their life. But yeah, no, I don't think it's necessarily like generational. I think it's truly like societal.
We have everything around us.
It makes it too
so
easy.
accessible.
Yeah, too accessible.
Well, I was thinking that you could be a badass Navy SEAL guy.
Okay.
I'm serious because whatever you say is most of the people that go to the program, in the armed force is more mind and commitment.
Sure. It's going to be hard for me to go, oh yeah, of course I could be a Navy SEAL. And I don't want to also say, no, I couldn't. Like
you could, if you're asking me, I would bet on you.
Yeah. Listen, I probably would. I probably like could. I would be really shocked if I wasn't able to, but I also listen, I respect the men and women of our armed forces,
Yes.
and I'm not going to start to like say
Yes.
like that I'm in any way more disciplined or less disciplined. I don't know. I would have to go through the
But
process.
you have the ingredients, like you actually trying to tell the mass or your clients, to the people that, hey, I'm gonna listen to you. Just listen to me. I went through this, planning and doing things step by step. You're gonna get there.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty as that too. Sometimes I don't follow through the plan, but it's very important to plan and execute. And you are very good at it. But every day moving yourself through that, man, is exhausted.
Do I seem exhausted?
But how
I don't know, Wesley. You tell me. Do I seem exhausted? Wesley spent plenty of time with me over the last few months.
Jared, I'm serious. You're a different animal, buddy. I know. I read your stuff. I look at you are very detail oriented. You are really like ding. You are very scheduled. How you do it? I have seen so many people. You are very, very rare breed.
So I'm going to preface this by saying, as much as I'm like talking shit about men in society today, I don't consider myself to be very masculine. I don't consider myself to be like a masculine dude. Like in the ways that I'm masculine is I say what I mean. I do what I say I'm going to do. And I take decisive action. So I don't do a lot of,
you say so easily.
That
it's not that easy. You're not used to it.
But like at the same time, when you talk about me being like a Navy SEAL, like, dude, I don't like to get my hands dirty. I don't like to tinker with shit. I don't like to fix cars or like, I don't like, I can do some yard work because I like plants, but like, I'm actually like a pretty feminine dude at the end of the day. I like art. I like to be my creative self. I like to write and like think and prophesize and philosophize, but I am committed. So like, all of this is to say, the reason I've had to build myself into this person is because my natural instinct is to sit on the couch and like eat junk food and watch shitty TV and do all the things that like most people want to do. It is that way. And because I know that by doing that, I will not have the life that I want to have, I have to build specific systems and rules and structure into my life that then I have to go, I'm going to commit. Am I doing the thing right now that is going to get me the life that I want? If not, then like you just kill it. You just change it. And it's easy to tell yourself on a day-to-day basis, oh, I'm doing all the things that I want to do. But again, if we don't have that like written down, if we don't have any kind of like structure, if we don't have a map physically of where we want to go and like what we told ourselves we were going to do. I don't have a vision board, but I just called it a map. And it's funny, I didn't mean it this way, but it's my massive action plan. My map is my 3 to 5 year life plan. It's all the things that I want to accomplish in my life in the next 3 to 5 years, not just in my business, but in my relationship. It's vacations I want to go on. It's skills that I want to learn. It's hobbies that I want to take up, all of it. And I was showing Wesley a few weeks ago, but again, I was expecting it to be a 3 to 5 year plan. I wrote my last one at the beginning of 2024 and I've cleared it all. So my 3 to 5 year plan was a less than 2 year plan because
you cleared all of it.
Yeah. And now I'm going to be able to move on to my next phase, which will be my next like 3 to 5 year massive action plan. I take that massive action plan, I break that down into a priority project list over the course of 3 to 6 months. So it's all the things that I want to accomplish in my life. Now I can week by week go like what projects, what next steps would have to be done to make that happen. And then every Sunday I sit down and I do my PEDs, which I've talked about extensively. Yeah. It's my to-do list and my calendar where now I create an actual literal task list of all the things that I need to accomplish today to be the person that I set out to be. By doing that, it allows me to know that I am tracking toward my North Star, and my True Fitness and Focus logo has a North Star for that very reason, is because once we know what our North Star is, it makes decision-making a lot easier. If our North Star is, which wouldn't be our North Star, but if our goal is changing, the goalpost is changing week to week, month to month, we're never making any progress. So having like a clear North Star allows us to align ourselves in a cohesive direction, a coherent direction. And then the day-to-day tasks are, you are what you repeatedly do. So if I'm accomplishing these things on a day-to-day basis that I told myself when I sat down as the best version of myself and wrote it down that I was going to accomplish, as long as I'm doing those things, then I'm continuously making progress in that direction. And you could say that it's hard, and I'm not going to say that it's easy, but I have been doing it so long.
It molds into,
it builds momentum, and it's a snowball effect where when I check off a box or when I finish my day, I am not like, yes, I feel accomplished and I get the dopamine hit and my testosterone boosts and all that is great. But I'm like so pumped about it that I'm like, I want to get more done. I want to accomplish more. It only feeds me. So like, I'm not losing energy by checking boxes. I'm only gaining energy by checking those boxes.
You're not just checking boxes. You just gain something.
Exactly. And it's also important to say that like when people look at my to-do list, can I pull it out?
Yeah.
I got it over there in my bag. My to-do list. This is actually a light one this week. I'll show you last week. I don't know what camera we're looking at here. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then next week.
You do this daily or you do it on Sundays?
So I do this on Sundays. I write this down on Sunday, but I'm keeping this with me all week. And now I have my roadmap. I have the roadmap that I wrote for myself, the directions I gave to myself in order to get to the place that I want to be by the end of the week. But it didn't start like this. I know this is like overwhelming for a lot of people because that's a lot. It started as a little post-it note.
Yeah,
post-it note. Had my whole week on it. There was like 3 to 5 things on there on a daily basis. It was like workout, meditate, reply to that email, and then like bring out the garbage or whatever it is that I had to do that day. Eventually, I got so good at checking off those boxes, again, setting a low bar.
It became a habit.
Moved to a bigger notebook or a bigger post-it note, then to a small notepad, then to a small notebook, now to the big notebook. And I'm already at like the edges of what this notebook can hold in terms of the number of things I can do in a day. And I don't think I want to move up. I don't think I want to increase this anymore. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But like at this point, like this is routine to just knock these things out. And you might think like, oh, well, that's pretty crazy. And like, don't you have any downtime? The thing about the to-do list is that it's as much about the soft stuff as much as it is about the hard stuff. Yes, on my to-do list, there's my workouts, there's my meditation, there's my gratitude practice, there's my jaw exercises and neck exercises and breathing exercises. There's the emails I have to send. There's the client meetings. All of that stuff is on there. Yes. The projects that I have to work on for my priority project list. But also on that list is the time that I'm going to spend with my wife. It's the dinners that we're going to go out to. It's the walk that we're going to go on. It's the time that I'm going to spend with my friends. It's the stuff that I'm going to do with my dogs. All of that is also in the to-do list because it's really easy to become such like a hyper productivity focused person that I spend Saturday afternoon in front of my computer getting work done when that ultimately isn't discipline. That's hard work. Hard work isn't discipline. Discipline, as I said earlier, is being the man that you want to be, being the person that you want to be. And if I'm spending Saturday afternoon replying to emails instead of spending time with my wife when I told her that I was going to be spending Saturday afternoon with her, well, then I'm not being the man that I want to be. So that keeps me honest to all of it, not just business and money and clients and all the X's and O's masculine stuff. It keeps me honest to all the other things that are important to me, or at least should be important to me, for me to be the person that I want to be.
You're the hardcore guy and romantic.
Oh, I'm a lover boy, dude.
I know.
I'm a lover boy.
You just, but you explain it so easy again, but you got used to this routine, this lifestyle. Therefore, your performance is kind of guaranteed. That's what I don't think so. You are the health coach or a trainer. I think you are a performance coach.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. And, being in good shape and guiding them how you're going to get in good shape is part of that journey. Don't you consider yourself a performance coach?
Yes. Well, you're actually one of the first people to call me that. And like, I do like that. So I'm going to lean into performance coach.
I told everybody about you. I said, guys, you're going to perform better. I'm serious. I told actually my cousin, because they had that problem. I told you that, she wanted to work out. I said, guys, it's going to affect your relationship. And I said, you need a performance coach. And he said, oh, who? I said, Dr. Jarred. Performance coach, I think is everything, mind, body, everything. It's not just, hey, I want to give you like a diet plan.
Yeah. So when I left my corporate job, I was originally supposed to have a gym at that point. That fell through before the new one that we have. So I had to figure out something to do to make money. And I just started personal training because it was easy enough. It made sense. It was easy to sell as like a service. And I realized really quickly the reason why for the clients that weren't seeing results, the reason why they weren't seeing it was not because I didn't give them the right plan or because they didn't know how to do the exercises effectively. It was the accountability part, as usual. And the reason why they were skipping the gym had nothing to do with the deadlifts or the squats or the bicep curls. It had everything to do with all the other shit that was happening in their life around the gym. So the reason why you're not going to the gym has nothing to do with the gym, has everything to do with everything else in your life. Okay. And if I'm a personal trainer, then the scope of my relationship with my client is limited to squats and deadlifts and bicep curls. What am I supposed to... I can't talk to you about the conversation you had with your wife or the shitty day that you had at work and tell you that none of that really matters. So that is one of the reasons why I knew that I was going to be getting into the performance coaching initially. And that just expedited my desire to grow into that type of coach, because I realized really quickly, handing somebody a plan and telling them to execute on it, like that's not the real problem why they're not getting where they want to be. It's because of everything that's happening up here. So how can I help them with that?
And you are very close to open your own location that will actually serve people, not a lot of people, but people that they are committed and going to change their lives. Tell me a little bit about that. When is it going to be open?
So it's called the Focus Room. It's going to be in East Austin. It should be open. We're still going through permitting with the city, so we're probably like a couple months out. The Focus Room is a small, bespoke, I'm going to call it personal development center. I've been calling it a self-mastery center. From the outset, it's going to look like a gym. It's going to have squat racks and dumbbells because physical fitness is the key component here. And to your point, the reason why I build my entire programming around physical fitness, with that being the foundation, is because I'll just get to the last piece of my success formula, is leaning into discomfort. And the more, like, for me, that to-do list doesn't make me uncomfortable because I've done it enough that now it's regular and I've pushed myself. So anything more than that would make me uncomfortable. But most people, even 10 things to do in a day would probably seem pretty uncomfortable. And all we want to do is push ourselves to the edge of our comfort zone. Continue to push ourselves slightly past the edge of our comfort zone, not step all the way over, but just play at the edge and continue to expand it. When we're looking at those 5 things, those 5 keys to success: have a plan, execute, be accountable, get a coach, and lean into discomfort. There's no better training ground for all of that than the gym. And not only are you learning building the mental muscle of discipline in the gym by following those 5 keys to success, but you're also building more physical energy throughout the process, which only creates more capacity to lean into those 5 things at the same time, to be more consistent, to be more uncomfortable, to push yourself more than what you would otherwise, to execute even better than you would have previously. So that's why the Focus Room is a gym, but it really is more than that. It's a place where any kind of goal that you want to set for yourself, you're going to be able to find the tools, the coaching, the accountability, and the community to help you get there over the long haul. And that's going to be through physical fitness. It's going to be through mindfulness practices like meditation. It's going to be by shifting your perspective through practices like demonstrating gratitude and understanding and embodying like what it actually means to be grateful, so that we're looking at things from a growth mindset perspective and not a fixed mindset perspective. So we're looking at things for what they could be, not for what they are. So we're looking at things from a best case scenario, not a worst case scenario. From there, we can help you find more introspection and reflection so that you can hone a little bit more in on what your North Star is and what it is that you really want to accomplish, whether it's this year or in your life in general. And then we also will help you with the planning component. So putting all of it into a to-do list and a task list that you can then follow through on and execute consistently and make sure that you are taking meaningful action day to day on the things that you purported to want. It's a
whole
for yourself.
ecosystem.
So it's a whole ecosystem. It's not just going to be in the fitness center itself. It's going to be spread out across East Austin in a variety of different locations where we'll be able to do these various different building these habits into our members' lives on an ongoing basis, where you'll have guidance and coaching to help you through the process, help you learn it. You're going to have community that'll be there doing it with you. So like, for example, everybody on Sunday sitting down together, having a block of time where anybody can come during this 4-hour window and come and do their PEDs together. So we're all making our plan for the week. And guess what? That's going to create a whole lot more accountability. It's going to create a whole lot more momentum. It's going to create a whole lot more of like a winning ecosystem of people who say they want to accomplish something, put a plan in place to do it, and then actually follow through on it. There's a lot of gyms that they just want you to jump around and get sweaty for 45 minutes and burn calories. That's okay. It's not very intentional, but it's okay. I call them like jungle gyms. Like, it's not a jungle gym. It's not a place where you're coming because we do fun cocktail hours and because you're going to like feel like you're a somebody because you're there. Which there's plenty of like gyms or social clubs masquerading as gyms in Austin as well. It's not the kind of place where like you're going just to get a pump and like take gym selfies, although there will be plenty of that. It's a place for like real committed people to lock in on their goals, to take meaningful steps and to accomplish their goals. It's a place where results happen, and you're going to have a community of winners who are also accomplishing what they've set out for themselves as well.
Some people right now at this moment, they're going through a rough time. They're going to change their lives with a partner. They're not happy. And we all say it as it starts with me.
Mm-hmm.
Always, as you know it.
Yep.
What advice do you have for those people?
Yeah. So, man, if there was one piece of advice, it starts with you. I will tell you to do one thing and one thing alone. If you want to make a change and you can't commit to this, then you're not going to be able to commit to much. So I'm going to give you one single thing that you could do, and it would be to start meditating. Even if it's 5 minutes, just twice a week, let's start there. Next week, do 5 minutes 3 times a week. Next week, do 5 minutes 4 times a week. Then do 10 minutes, then do 15, and get up to like 20 to 30 minutes. Meditating is, I say, the most important exercise that I do. It's my favorite exercise that I do. What it does is it cultivates presence, which is what allows us to be here in the moment, be focused on what we're doing right now. It allows us to understand that we aren't our thoughts. We are not our thoughts. We are not our emotions. Those come and go. And we can choose to, when they pop up, chase them like a dog chasing a car. Or we can go, oh, that's not me. I appreciate that it's here. I can choose to believe it or not. I'm going to choose to not believe it. And I'm going to choose to stay focused on what matters right now. It allows us to not focus on the worries or the guilt or the shame of the past. It allows us to not focus on our outcome or get distracted by the anxiousness of what's to come in the future. It allows us to be here right now. And the more that we could be here right now, we can cultivate awareness, which is understanding where our attention is at any given time. Is your attention where it's supposed to be right now, or is it not? Is it somewhere else? And then once we attain awareness of knowing where our attention is, we can cultivate presence, which is bringing it to the here and now, mentally, so that I'm here with you having this conversation, emotionally, so I'm not reacting volatilely or impulsively if you said something that I didn't like or whatever happens, and also physically, so that I'm being here present with good posture and looking like I'm here and not looking like I'm daydreaming or even worse, like
you're
slumped over and looking shitty like that. So that is what I would say to anybody, is just start meditating. The Headspace app is a great place to start, but if you wanted to, you can go to truefitnessatx.com, go to my sanctuary page, and I have free guided meditations for you right there.
Really?
You can download for yourself.
I can download it.
Yep. And I also have a free muscle building blueprint, workout program, diet guide, habit tracker.
Is that a website they can get a hold of you and ask for free consultation?
Yep, you can get a hold of me on the website as well.
That's great, man. Yep. I can talk to you for a day, man. Days.
Likewise,
but
dude.
It's so fun talking to you. I really appreciate for being here, brother, and educating all of us. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
Until next time, we're gonna catch up soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.